welcome to Inside Fetish, everybody. I'm Goddess Genesis, or just call me Jen. And we're going to have a great show today. I've missed you all. I was gone, last 2 weeks? So sorry I've been away, but been really, really busy. And my guest today is Mistress Cyan, and she can tell y'all what we've been up to a little bit. Kind of attached to her hip, so wherever she goes, I pretty much follow. And so tell them what's been going on at the dungeon. Like 2 weeks ago, we had the slave auction,
yeah,
and we had the Mr. and Ms. Sanctuary leather contest, which those guests will be on very soon. And then you had Kinky Claws Christmas last week. So go ahead, talk. Okay. Tell them who you are. It's Mistress Cyan.
Hello. November, December are usually busy months for us because we do a lot of benefit things. For about the last 16, 17, 18 years, we've been doing a food drive and a toy drive, and stuff. Started in the music business with doing rock and roll bands, and then around 1999, I believe it was, we did the slave auction, and it didn't quite draw as many people as the rock and roll bands did, but the food and the toys that we collected outnumbered it by far.
Oh, sure.
And it was a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I just want to say that our slave auction is not human trafficking, so don't confuse that. They don't take them home. If they want to take them home and it's consensual, that's one thing. But it's just for like an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours of play. So no human trafficking at Sanctuary Studios LAX. So Rev, who do we have in the chat room?
We have Pig Carrie. We have people that are watching the show. So if you are watching the show and you're not in the chat room, please come in the chat room and hang out. I have an announcement.
Oh, good. What's your announcement?
The announcement is, you guys ready for this one?
Yes.
Okay. On November 29th, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Sanctuary LAX, is going to be Sanctuary Marketplace. So it's a one-stop kinky holiday shopping destination for vendors, performers, community presenters, spanking booths, and so much more. So please come. It's only $10 a person, and it's $15 per couple. And all the attendings will receive a discount voucher to the after party. Thrust, right?
Thirst.
Thrust
is a good name. Very good name.
And it's appropriate. And it's military fetish night. So come one, come all. That'll be an extraordinary day. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That's my announcement.
That's going to be great. Thank you for that announcement.
You're welcome.
Wow. Lots of vendors and
I think we've got like 13 or 14 vendors or so, maybe 16. I forgot the exact number, but we had floggers, corsets, jewelry. All kinds of toys and fun goodies. We're even going to have an ice cream vendor there.
Ice cream. Oh, I'm definitely going just because of the ice cream.
What kind of ice cream?
Every kind?
Yes. No. You'll have to come out to see.
Woo-hoo-hoo. So,
yeah. There's going to be performances go on stage, and there's going to be demos, and a couple of the groups that do some of the events, like Gentlemen in Charge and Wake Us Up. Some of the workshops that are presented, some of the presenters are going to be there with tables, for like community tables, to be able to let everybody know on how they get a little bit better educated, what some of the private groups are like, and so on. So it ought to be a nice event.
Yeah, it really sounds like it. Education is good.
But this one's all going to be more about shopping. There's some education, but it's more about entertainment and shopping.
Oh, okay. Well, I could always learn more about shopping.
I thought you knew it all about shopping.
Spending money.
Shopping!
Shopping! Well, I had quite a time going through traffic tonight. So crazy in LA today.
So how crazy was it?
I don't have a good one for that, so I can't think.
Well, at least you made it here in time to go to the bathroom.
I did. I made it in time to go to the bathroom. I had to piss like a racehorse. So
I should have put a camera and a microphone in there. Then we could have had you piss on air.
Pissing on air, I'll be right with you. Can have that as standby, me pissing.
Live from the bathroom.
We could get people to pay for that. Live from the bathroom. So you've been in the scene a really long time, and I kind of like to come up with topics to discuss here on air and kind of invite people into the chat room to put their spin on it. But the other day I heard some people talking who are, at work, but they're in the scene, and there's lifestyle slaves who either A, have a master or mistress, or they don't. But and they may be masochists or whatever, but what they have a hard time with is when they go to parties and people find out that they're a slave, they just automatically come over there and say, come on and play with me. And because they may have seen them play heavy somewhere else, that doesn't necessarily mean they want to play with you. So what are your thoughts on that? And also people in the chat room, come in and let's discuss.
Well, I think whether it's a relationship or whether it's just a scene in a play party or whether it's a closed session or anything, it always starts with negotiation.
Absolutely.
And I think the submissives or slaves or however they may identify,
S-types.
however they may identify, should still take on the responsibility if somebody comes and says, here, let's go play or do something, to say, wait, time out. We haven't negotiated a scene yet, or we haven't discussed this, or I'm not taller to you, or something that can initiate it and be a little more empowered to be a little assertive as far as what their rights are as a S-type person.
Oh, I agree with that. That kind of goes with what I was talking about a few weeks ago too, about submissives being empowered. It doesn't mean that you're a doormat and you just don't stick up for yourself and speak on your behalf. You need to speak up. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and that's before a scene, before a relationship or anything else. But even during that scene, I've done a lot of classes for submissives and stuff. Having been in that space when I first started, is that you have to take responsibility not only before the scene, but during the scene and after it as well. I mean, you can't rely on the dominant to know everything about when to slow down or stop or what kind of way. I mean, we've all probably experienced at times when you've either been in the bottom space or you've been playing with somebody who's a bottom. They can have a night where they're taking a lot more than they usually do, or just the opposite, nights where you haven't even went very hard and they're already not reacting. So dominants are not mind readers, even though some of them think they're perfect. They're not, and it takes communication, and that verbal communication about safe words or code words. If people don't want to use the word safe word, make it as a communication word, a code word to communicate to the dominant that we have to slow down a little bit. It's all about communication.
Absolutely. Maybe some in the chat room or who are watching are brand new, and they may not know what you mean by code or safe words. Usually the words that I use for yellow is for caution. This is getting a little too heavy. Slow down, lighten up. And red means stop. Now, red for me could just mean that just stop doing what you're doing. Doesn't mean stop the scene for me. And I usually negotiate that. I don't negotiate with Cyan. She knows me. We're, engaged, and we know how to play with each other. But that's all it means, is you come up with what your boundaries are. And the minute they get crossed, you're done. And
we may not have a safe word or a code word, but we still communicate, because I can read your body language, and you can you can tell by my touch and things where we're at, when I'm slowing down at the pace of things, and how we play. You understand that, and I understand when I'm playing with you what it looks like, how your body reacts to certain stimulus and certain play. So even though we may not have a word, or we may not have verbal communication.
I've never had to use words with you.
We have a lot of nonverbal communication.
Yeah, our play was always very passionate from the beginning, even when you were just mentoring under me. I think it's kind of how we fell in love. Not sure.
Mentoring under you.
Huh?
Mentoring under you?
No, I was mentoring under you. Oh, did I say that? Ooh! I didn't mean that.
Slut.
I'm a slut. And from time to time, you whore me out, but she whores me out. There's other people that I play with, but, I usually don't even have to, explain to them what I'm into because they know me so well and they know Cyan, and they're not going to go over any boundaries. And so kind of going on with what my topic is other people will see that, oh, she does let Genesis play with other people. Well, some people. Doesn't mean you get to drag me by the hair and pull me up on the cross. And so, and I've seen that happen with people. They just take liberties. And again, I'm not saying it's male or female. I don't do that. There's some people with bad manners in the scene, and it's just people, male or female.
But generally, even if somebody says red in a situation like that, if there's a DM there, they're going to stop it.
Yeah.
If there's not a DM, being a universal code word, there's going to be other people who are other players there who are going to step in. I mean, right. I hate to sound like inconsiderate or anything else, but any submissive that allows themselves to be pulled by the hair and put up on a cross, they have to assume some of the responsibility.
It was just that one time. I kind of like having my hair pulled. But yeah, no, and that's what I like to really reiterate is that you need to speak up for yourself. And if the dominant you're with doesn't like it, too bad. Get another dominant. Don't deal with it. You don't have to put up with that. That's not good for you. And the other thing that I noticed that people that know better don't always follow the protocol. Have you seen a lot of that?
I've seen some of it. I wouldn't say a lot of it. I think for the most part, most people are respectful. Most people are. I tend to see it more in the people who don't know better, more in the people who read the internet or who go into some groups and read a few things and become a dominant because they joined a certain group.
Right.
Or they've come to a party and bought a flogger and therefore
and then proclaim themselves master or mistress.
And then they think they know how it's going to be done or how they should do it in it. And even when they go up there and grab somebody by the hair and pull them, in many cases, they think that's what they're supposed to do. They think that's the protocol. That's the scene. Okay. So essentially, it's not so much people know about what they're doing. It's about a lack of education, I think, in our community.
Right.
Because there's so much available online. Okay, but it's not always the right stuff. It's not always good information.
The hiccups. Do we have any questions?
We have a couple statements.
Okay, well, let me hear them.
Pig Carrie said that Pig Carrie has no problem in speaking up or asking questions. And then Pig Carrie said, I love Mistress Cyan. One of my most classic scenes was when I said red on TSR Network a few years ago. And Bird Brim is in the chat room. And hello. So if you are watching the show and you are not in the chat room, there are lots of people that are watching, but you are just hanging out on the sides. Get your butts here in the chat room and join us.
Discuss.
And Carrie, I remember that scene over at the other TSR studios. I remember the show, and that was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. So, Mel, what do you think? What's some of your thoughts?
My thoughts on
on people kind of taking liberties with submissives, whether they have a dom or not. Just.
Well, I that's one of my pet peeves because what I really hate to see, it's all of the new boys and girls that come into this, or men and women that come into this lifestyle, and they're newbies. They don't know any better. And all of a sudden, they have an experienced dom who has a name for themselves, and we have lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, they're being swooped up by this experienced dom, and their life is pretty miserable afterwards because they don't know that they can say no. They don't know that they can say, I have limits. They don't do, I mean, they may do negotiations, but when you're new, you know nothing.
Right.
But there's wonderful classes at Sanctuary LAX. There's a newbie class, an S&M 101 class that's there. There's also the one that I do at the Lear Assad for the last 12 years, S&M 101. So we have a lot of wonderful places in Los Angeles that does education.
Yeah, our SM 101 class is every Monday night at 8 o'clock, taught by Jen.
So that's where everybody's at.
BDSM 101. BDSM 101, taught by Jen. Not this Jen, another Jen.
Yeah. It's a 4-part series, actually, that deals with 4 different aspects of everything from the language and the terminology all the way up to technique and things, relationships and so on. So it's really a nice series, and she repeats it. She does 4 classes and then it restarts the series over again.
She's very, very good, and a lot of people come to it and they'll go in and listen to it. So she's got a lot of information.
Yeah, we moved the Insight from the Lear to Friday nights.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had I think close to 75 people in my class.
Oh my goodness.
It was huge, and they were all newbies. And
that's great.
I mean,
that's great.
Education is really important because people who do not take classes, who fly into this lifestyle with this big expectations of meeting their sir or their mistress, they get disappointed.
Oh yeah.
And then we lose them. And this is our future. These new people are our future. And I'm so glad. I mean, Threshold also does an SM 101 class. Everybody, I think it's really important that every single dungeon
do something. No, that's great.
Birdbrim in the chat room says, a big, lovely hello to Mistress Cyan from Sir and I, and a big smile.
Oh, cool. Hello. And I forgot to say hello to Pig Carrie. Pig Carrie's great. She's always in my chat room.
I'm going to tell her to oink oink in the room.
Oink oink, Carrie, you slut. You slut.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is because I see so many new people coming in.
Right.
And they get really, really see stuff really quickly.
Yeah.
And my advice to new people is never lose your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Don't hook up with somebody
that.
No, give yourself some time. I mean, there's one girl on Saturday night who asked me if I could give her some tips and to kind of talk to her, and I basically told her, I says, you need to hang out with everybody. You need to get to know us, establish friendships.
Watch people play.
Yes.
Watch if this person that you're interested has other slaves, watch them.
Yep.
See how they behave. See, do they look happy? And watch, is that the type of protocol you're into? I mean, I'm Cyan's slave, but I'm not a good one. But, I mean, I do like positions, and I like to sit quietly by her, on my knees by her. But I don't get a lot of opportunity to do that. But I'm not quiet. I definitely have my own opinions. But, yeah, you definitely got to match up with somebody who's going to take your shortcomings, and Cyan does. So.
Well, the other thing too is it's not only submissives that are new that come in that need the education.
Absolutely, DOMs.
Those coming in that identify as a switch or a DOM also, should go to the classes and get educated a little bit. I mean, I can remember back when there were public dungeons, and when you came into the lifestyle or the community or the scene or whatever term you want to use that fits, that you pretty much came in as a submissive. You came in and you learned from the bottom up. You learned, I was on the bottom, the submissive side for 4 years, and I mean, I learned from some of the best back in, the late 80s and 90s who were in the community. I learned not only the right way to do things, but I had experiences where I played with people who did not do a good warm-up. So I learned the right way to do things, but I also learned the wrong way to do things, okay? You know, I experienced with somebody who knew what they were doing, how they could build me up so I could go farther than I ever thought I could go. But on the other hand, there was times that I played with somebody that I said read, you know, 5 minutes into the scene because I was not even close to being warmed up. And they started in with paddles or a wood spoon or something like that. That was not the good pain, was not the pain that was building up the endorphins. It was outright like, oh, fuck, that hurt, we're done.
Okay, we're done.
I'm you're not putting me in a good space or in endorphins or like that. You got me pissed, okay? So, you know, and then it's not just going to be a good scene, so you just end it. But the fact is I learned through active participation with people who were knowledgeable, people who didn't have a public scene to go to show off on, didn't have a, you know, there was not that ego situation where how many subs can you call or how many people do you have in your house or anything like that. It was all, you know, learning it. And I mean, we can talk about those days, but it doesn't mean we can ever go back to them. It doesn't mean that we can ever replicate those days. And it doesn't mean that we can change what's happening today, in that we're dealing with a world that's got an internet, that's got Twitter, that's got, I mean, here in Los Angeles, we've got at least 4 public dungeons that have play parties on the weekends. So there are going to be people who explore. Here in LA, we've got nightclubs that fetish scenes and BDSM scenes take place. It's a whole different world.
Yeah,
so
people
I think
have a lot of options.
It still goes back to taking some personal responsibility for your own education. You know, like I kind of said earlier, I mean, there's so much on the internet now, both good and bad. So I think not only do you take responsibility for your own safety in the scene, you should take responsibility for your own safety before you even get into it by educating yourself and being aware of what's out there. You know, you can go to, if you're going to go to a play space or something like that, you can usually ask a DM, ask who owns it or who can you talk to because you're new. They'll take you under their wing. I know a gentleman in charge does something that for some of the new submissive girls that come in, if they'll pair them up with a sister sub for the night so that they can kind of walk them through it. So, it's not that vulture type of thing.
That's really a great idea.
A really good environment. I mean, I see, in many cases, the female subs outnumbering the male doms at that party because they feel protected. They see that there's female DMs there, so they feel that they're safe watching the scene. It's the atmosphere is very respectful and stuff. And like I said, and they can come even if they don't know what they're doing. They can come and feel safe because they're being looked over, and they're getting paired up with somebody that can kind of guide them or answer the questions for them, or even kind of look out for them if somebody's coming on to them and they're not sure how they should react or what they should say. They got a little bit of guidance. Right.
Sorry, I'm yawning. In traffic. It's hypnotizing. So, any more questions? Statements?
Let me see. Birdie says that she's been active in the lifestyle for 2 years, was underneath the mentorship of Mistress Melissa for about 8 months.
Oh, good.
And she says, tell them to slow down, read up, attend munches, make friends, go to every class you possibly can, ask questions. Don't enter into a dynamic until you've been at least had a year of exploring everything for yourself. I agree with her.
Absolutely. That's very, very smart words to live by.
And actually, she brings up about munches, which is something we hadn't even talked about. There are so many munches that are in public areas and public restaurants and coffee shops and things like that where you can meet somebody out of the scene. You're not in that dynamic like you might be going into a dungeon. You're not going to have somebody come up to you and say at Denny's and grab you by the hair and pull you over. So, a munch is really a safe environment to meet like-minded people, mingle a little bit. You can see how other people interact with others. And because their social interaction outside of a scene could be way different than it is during a scene or inside a dungeon. So, I think that the Munches is a great opportunity, and thank you, Bertie, for bringing that up.
Yeah, plus you get to eat at Munches. Munches are good. Yes, Mel.
Bertie said, she goes, "You're so welcome," because she's just listening to the conversation. She says, "I had Spanky to thank for holding my hand at my first 2 Munches, and he's always spoke very highly, of TSR Network. Woo, 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 woo. It thrills me to support all that you do to our community." What we've been doing is we've been asking for volunteers to help repost and to get the word out and to reach out to all their friends. And we're getting a whole bunch of people that want to help out with TSR Network running the shows, doing PR, doing marketing. So we'll be having an online meeting with people that have volunteered.
Oh, wow. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we're really excited.
Good.
We're trying to get it out there. So when we get to DomCon, we are going to fucking rock in May.
If you keep doing this, Mel, you're going to have to change your byline from corrupting 1 vanilla at a time to corrupting 10 or 20 at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've had over 200,000 people watch our show since we relaunched. Yeah. We have one of our shows have had 13,000 people that have watched just one episode. Yeah, people are really watching us on the recorded shows on YouTube. So, and we support everything that Sanctuary LAX does. We love that place. It's an awesome place. For anyone that's new that's watching this, that's in Los Angeles or coming to Los Angeles, please check out the dungeon there. It is an awesome place to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're very proud of it. We love it because we love our community.
Now we're 3.5 years into being at this location.
Yeah, can you believe that, Mel?
We're typically right now are booked out with about 28 days out of the month of each night. So roughly 6 to 7 nights a week. Almost every week we've got play parties going on, we've got classes and workshops going on. And we do everything we can about education. We've got SoCal Shibari in there. We've got Miss Cassie doing rope classes. We've got BSM 101. We've got a martial arts class that's in there every Monday night, and I think it's the first and third Saturdays. Plus, in addition to that, we have workshops that change each month. We may have things like Violet Wand, Single Tail.
Flogging, spanking,
fire play,
knife play, sensation play.
So we keep it pretty busy as far as having something for everybody in the community, however they identify, and also whatever level there is. I mean, some of these classes we've had, rope masters from Japan, Australia and stuff coming in teaching very advanced classes. We've got a lot of beginner classes, a lot of classes that are hands-on, and we've actually just started something recently. We've done 2 of them that's really went over well, and we call it the Sanctuary Sunday School, and it's the 2nd and 4th Sunday of every month. It goes from 8 o'clock Sunday night to 10 o'clock, and we kind of credit Mistress Melissa. One of the classes that she used to do in her series was kind of an open instruction, where instead of having a topic, people could come and learn a little bit about what their particular interest is. So we may have 3 or 4 different things going on the one night. There's no specific theme for that particular class. It's some people will come in, they want to work on their flogging, they want to learn about Violet Wand or a Single Tail and stuff. And we usually have enough people there that can instruct on that. So that's going really well. We've had 2 of them so far, and the attendance has been
it's well attended. So anybody else join the chat room?
No, we haven't had people join the chat room, but we sure have a lot of people that are watching. They're being the looky-loos on the outside, so please, I think they're so engaged in the conversation because they know that if they go over to TSR Network, then they'll lose the conversation, and they're holding on to everything. So, forget about losing it. You can watch the reruns.
Yeah, watch the reruns. Come in the chat room. Say hello. Give us your comments.
And Bertie said LA's Next Generation is also a big part of Sanctuary, offering a place for newbies of all ages to learn, meet, mingle, and become active in our community.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's actually takes place the fourth Saturday of every month. And it is a Next Gen organization, but Gear has started it with a little bit of a different concept, okay, which I really like, okay, and I admire, because a lot of people who look at the Next Gen type of events and clubs, they always have an age cap on it, and in many cases you hear people who are complaining about that there's not enough people who are knowledgeable teaching and so on. Well, the LA Next Gen has not put a cap on their
that's good.
on there. So, they do bring in people who are a little bit over what might be the normal Next Gen category, doing teaching and participation and stuff, and it seems to be well received.
Well, I think Next Gen could just be in relation to people coming into the scene. I mean, I came to this scene at 36, and I was a newbie, and I think it should be related to whether or not they're newbies.
I think that's kind of their concept.
Yeah, no, that's a good concept.
Or that's how it's moving along.
Yeah, no, that's very good, very good. Anybody have any comments?
We're just sitting here talking in the chat room.
What are you talking about me?
Yeah, we're talking about you. They go, nice breast.
Nice breast.
And they're talking about her SIRS dungeon first aid class at LA Next Gen. So
cool.
Yeah. Oh, she says wholeheartedly agree. We are all family. We're talking about the fact that in the chat room that all of us have to work together. All the different dungeons, all the different munches, all the different places, because we have such a wide variety of new people that are coming into the lifestyle every single day. And it is amazing. And they're coming in swarms. And it's going to even get more with the movie 50 Shades of Grey, if it's a successful movie.
Right.
Well, the trailers are getting unbelievable hits.
Really?
Really? Yeah. I think in I think it was September or October when they released the first trailer. It broke the internet record for, I think it hit 1 million hits faster than any other trailer or any other review.
Wow! Did you see any of the trailers?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed, but it
was. I was
but they've since then done a new one. I haven't seen the new one, but the new one's supposed to be much better.
Yeah. Did you ever want to read the book?
Yeah. Well, I think we should all read that to have a perspective. I mean, there's a lot of opinions out there about it. And stuff. So I think just having a knowledge of it. Now, that book, from what I understand, from what listeners think, since I'm legally blind, I can't read the book very well. But from what I've understood from everybody who has, is it's really not a good indication of what our real lifestyle is. But it's a very great romantic
fantasy.
Thing. Now, Ernest Green has just come out with a book called the Master of O,
which you have a signed copy.
Yes, and
because he came to Sanctuary Studios, he and Nina.
Yeah, they came and they did a book signing, and he and Nina Hartley, and they took turns reading excerpts from it. But that one is a book that is deeply rooted within our real life play. I mean, this is O in the book is a real masochist, and it's someone who's like a corporate executive type of person who's very well off, who in her private life is identifies as a slave. And from what Ernest has said and what people have commented on, is that the scenes you're going to read in that book are really, really hot and erotic, but they're also scenes that anybody who is a player who participates in play is going to relate to. It's not going to be something where people look at it and say, wow. And it's not necessarily based on their relationship, but it's based on experiences they've seen. And Ernest said the book is 700 pages, and they had to cut 400 pages out of it. So there's already 400 pages into the sequel.
Yeah.
but the whole 700 pages takes place like over the course of the summer, so it's not even a long with. But the excerpts that they did read were really erotic, really hot, and I mean it's and I highly recommend it. You can go to masterofo.com, I believe it is, and to get the book and to get some information on it. And I'm talking to him right now about getting some of them at Sanctuary, so they'll be available for sale at Sanctuary as well.
Okay. Did you have a question?
We have someone that came into the chat room.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Art has come into the chat room. Welcome.
Welcome, Art.
Yeah, and come into the conversation. We have more people that are watching the show. The viewers are building up. I read 220 pages of 50 Shades of Grey. I had to put it down because it was not very well written, but what it is doing to our community.
Right. No, there is a positive side.
Yeah, there is a huge positive side. We're no longer, I don't know if we like the fact that we're no longer taboo.
Yeah, I kind of like being on the subversive side.
I mean, but it's bringing a lot of people into our lifestyle. We're real fortunate in LA to have so many different places.
Yeah, there's kind of better attitudes about what it is. I get a lot of, oh, cool, fetish? That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like anything else, you can look at it as a double-edged sword. There's, you'll hear a lot of criticism about it. It's not real. It's not, it doesn't portray it accurately and stuff. But again, on the positive side is that it is, to a point, educating the community, the vanilla community in the world about this aspect of our life and making it a little bit where, I would say, it's not so much as being what some people may consider sick, okay, or there's something wrong with it. I mean, granted, I know a lot of people that have been in this a long time that really like the fact that we were kind of like outlaws of humanity, and that what we were doing wasn't socially acceptable, and what we were doing is, made us that, non-accepted type of thing. But I think by opening up people's eyes to what we do makes it safer for us.
Right.
I mean, I think there's going to be less people who get hurt because it's going to be more open. I think there's going to be less people who get arrested and thrown in jail. Right. I think there's going to be less people who may actually get killed, okay, and do practicing things that we do when they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
RAC, risk-aware consensual kink, is something that, I don't care if people say SSC and stuff, when you look at some of the things we do, is it really safe, sane, and consensual? Okay, consensual it may be, sane it may be, safe. That's a question mark there. I mean, you can take something that arguably somebody in our lifestyle might say is safe, but is it really safe? Is it hitting somebody with a flogger? Is it hitting somebody with a single tail? Is it using canes?
Right.
Yes, we use them as safely as we can. We use them, we get knowledge, and we use them so that we're not doing damage.
Right.
But there still can be a question mark of whether it's safe. So at least when the eyes of the public gets opened and they see that this is not something that people should be put away with or raided and thrown in jail for or anything else, I think it can only help.
Okay. Yes, Mel?
We have a conversation going on in the chat room.
I love conversations.
I'm going to read 3 of them, and then we can talk about them. Birdie says 50 Shades of Grey will offer our community a fantastic opportunity to educate ourselves to the outside as to the reality of our lifestyle.
That's very true.
And then Art says, thanks. He says, I agree that LA is a fresh perspective as well. I agree that when there is a right venues, that it's much more safe and real. And then Pig Carey says, I share my story in class at Oregon State, and one of my classmates complimented me on how normal and educated I was. Do they all think we just walk around in leather chaps and beat people up and talk with a drawl?
Yeah. So Pig Carey's teaching at Oregon State.
I think she's in a class.
She's in a class. Yeah, and she also stated that she got an A on her. She wrote an article on BDSM and got an A onto it. But yeah, so it's we're really, I think that we're up for a pretty good change.
Very cool. Very cool.
You know, and not every movie or every book can be dealt with in a way. There was a movie that came out a number of years ago, and you probably remember this, Mel, where there was a big hype. Everybody in the community was talking about how excited they were because there was a movie called The Pet coming out. And people were talking about having screenings at the dungeons, and when it came out, it was terrible.
Yeah, we saw that together.
Yeah, and it really made the people who do this look very bad, and it was not a portrayal of what this is. So, you know.
Yeah, we actually have that cage from that movie.
Mm-hmm.
John got it when it was still Passive Arts. Yeah.
Oh God, I saw that movie. I wanted to put my finger. I mean, first of all, they were able to do a film. You got to give them that.
Yeah.
You got to say, hey, they're able to do a film. But all she did was run.
Yeah.
Remember? And then they kidnapped her, trained her to be this perfect pet, and then in the end they killed her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an auction to buy the perfect pet and to kill them. Yeah. It was horrible. Horrible. Never mind.
Yeah, it was terrible.
But it was funny because before it was released, everybody was just raving about it, you know. So.
And then you're watching it, going, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. But this, I mean, The Secretary, I thought was
The Secretary was a fun
decent introduction to the public about a BDSM dynamic in it. You know, we've had scenes in different TV shows. You know, like I said, there was one called Castle that I was in actually, and they came to the dungeon to record and stuff, and it was nice because it was about a murder investigation, and when they went to this producer's house, they found a dungeon down in the basement, and one of the detectives went to meet one of the other detectives that got there. It was a female detective, and he's going, "You got to come down. You got to see this, and you're not going to believe it." And they go down the stairs, and she sees the dungeon, and she looks at him and says, "You know, don't knock it until you tried it." You know? So it's, you know, there's not always a negative spin on everything now these days, and I think all these little things with some of these books and some of these movies and some of these shows all helps kind of spoon feed people to accepting that it's out there. But where I draw the line is that when it becomes so socially accepted that you stop thinking a little bit about it is when you open the door for people who are predators or people who are not involved, who go after victims who kind of where we started going full circle, that are submissives, and they will take and use BDSM, or they'll use the DS dynamic to be abusive or to take advantage or be a predator or something like that. And again, going full circle, it all comes back again to, you know, if you watch a movie and it's interesting and it's something you want to get into, do your homework, get on there, read some books, find out about these munches, find out about some of these classes and stuff, go to it, educate yourself about what is happening, and also the people who are in your community.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mr. Cyan, I want to ask your opinion of something. We've had the story of O. We've had Secretary. We've had 9.5 weeks.
Yeah.
We've had the Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
We've had the other one with what's her name that was on an island and there was all mistresses.
Exit Eden.
Yes.
Exit Eden. We have those floggers.
Oh, I'd like those floggers. But did any of those films actually really change our lifestyle?
I don't believe so, and I'm actually, you know, with the exception of Story of O, Reynolds was in plenty of those, but I think the lifestyle tends to evolve in its own at its own pace, despite what else out there. I don't think what's in the media, books or TV shows or movies changes our lifestyle. I think it changes the perception of the people who are not aware of our lifestyle.
Right. Yeah.
And we have a question in the chat room.
Yay.
Or a statement. Art says, hypnosis and mental games certainly has those risks about new people. That if you do hypnosis on somebody, play with their minds, there's a lot of risk involved in hurting somebody. Do you guys agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I
love hypnosis though, but
there'll probably be some people who get upset about this. I'm still having difficulty understanding the hypnosis part of things. I see a lot of hypnodoms and things like that on there, but I've always been told that you even under hypnosis you're not going to do anything that you don't want to do. Okay, right. That it's the power of suggestion, but you are still have your sense of right and wrong. Somebody can't hypnotize you and go tell you to shoot somebody or something on there. So again, going back to where we started this whole conversation about responsibility, I think you as a submissive need to take the responsibility of saying that if I'm going to allow myself to be hypnotized, okay, is to find out what's involved and find out a little bit more about it, and I would even say have someone there. Okay, if you're going to do it for the first time, okay, do it where there's actually somebody there that can help monitor and stuff. Because if it is something that happens and it is something that that you can go under and be told to do something on there, I would say until you trust the person you're doing it with, there should be a third person, almost like that spotter, so to speak, if it was to be on rope suspension, having somebody there who can kind of monitor, make sure that that they're doing it responsibly.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Bertie said, "Wonderfully said, Mistress Cyan."
No, that's very true. Oh, really?
Yes.
It's gone by so fast.
Well, let me real quickly then, if we're almost finished.
Yeah,
I do want to say a little bit more about some of the auctions and stuff that we're doing. We raised probably close to 3,000 pounds of food for the slave auction. For the Mr. and Mrs. Sanctuary Leather, we had people bringing food. We had people bringing toys. We raised over $5,200 for the Kinky Claws toy drive the other night. And the next one we're doing is on December 13th. It's a Saturday night. It's my Christmas slave auction.
Toy drive.
You can go to TSRnetwork.com and get information on it. Essentially what it is that there's no real money involved. You bring food, you bring toys, and you get auction dollars in return. And we have a lot of submissive people volunteer from the crowd and from the community that go up and get auctioned off for the evening. We have some of the girls at Sanctuary who go up and get auctioned off. It's all about having fun. There's a form that you fill out that has your interests, your likes, your dislikes, your limits, hard limits. Safe words are required. We have DMs there. And our goal is to, get another, to basically try to hit 4,000 pounds of food, which would be 2 tons.
Yeah.
And we won't turn away blankets and jackets and stuff like that because at this time of the year, people still need to, to get warm on cold nights. So, that's what it's all about, is that want people to come out. And the last thing I guess I can say about it is that what we get out of this is a feeling in our heart that you're making a difference in the world. Okay, there's somebody eating, or there's a child that's going to have a toy that wouldn't have had it. Every one of us that are participating, whether we're bringing one can of food or a toy or anything else, is making the difference in the life of someone else. We may not even know, but we're making a difference in the world, and that one can is making it a little bit better for somebody. So whatever anybody can do, if you can't make it to LA and you want to do something, contact me, Mistress Cyan at gmail.com. I can tell you to mail a gift card, something. But everybody can do something about it. We can't cure hunger, but maybe for one day here and there we can put some food in somebody's stomach that's going to make them feel a little bit better, give them a blanket, or make sure a child has a toy on Christmas that wouldn't otherwise, and that will give you a feeling of making a difference that you just can't there's nothing else that can really change that.
That's great. Thank you so much for being my guest. And we had a lot of interesting topics to toss around. I want to thank all of you who watched us and also joined us in the chat room. I'll be here next week at 7:30 and hopefully on times.
And be at Sanctuary on Saturday for our
Yes.
marketplace.
Thank you, everyone. Woo!